We move to item 9, the LTP 2021 update. And Peter Ryan, again, thanks very much indeed for the report, which we'll take as read. But if there are any particular matters you want to draw our attention to, now's the opportunity.
Okay, thank you. Just briefly, I would like to flag that these reports always they have a lead time now of about 3 weeks. And with a fast-moving project like the LTP, there are things that have moved in the last 3 weeks. So I will simultaneously be talking to this report and what things are like today. Very quickly, since this was written, the capital program is largely, if not completely, landed. Most of the OPEX savings are complete, and the budgets are now in activity plans, and that wasn't the case back in the 10th or so of November. I'd also like to just explain, because I've had a query about the traffic lights. Amber doesn't mean this will fail, it means this needs focus. It doesn't mean that it's a failure, that's what red is. So an amber light here means this will be okay if we focus on it. And that's subsequently been the case. Overall, if this report were written today, I would flag it as green because we are on track to meet our February adoption date. But at the time it was written, it's a fair reflection of the things that were not resolved at that point. So I just want to point out that temporal issue. Otherwise, Mr. Chair, you've indicated the report's taken as read.
Indeed. Yep. Thank you very much indeed. So any questions on this report? Sam?
Yeah, thank you, Peter, for this, and it's good to talk about the different colours and how that will be reflected going forward. So just in terms of the timeline, and you mentioned it's on track, is there, so we're still on track effectively to go out to consultation 25th or 24th, I think, of February?
Sorry, to clarify, the meetings to adopt are the 23rd and the 25th.
23rd.
There then is normally about a week to 10 days to finalise the CD to reflect those decisions, because there are always some last minute changes.
Okay.
And we would go out to consultation around about the 7th of March.
Right.
7th to 10th of March, depending on how quickly the document can be laid up.
Okay, so there aren't any issues with that?
There are issues that only came to light, as some of you know, yesterday. Audit New Zealand has flagged that they have resourcing issues and that they're potentially looking at 4 to 6 weeks delay to process our LTP. We cannot adopt an LTP without their opinion from a legal standpoint. Now that's come as something of a surprise, I think it's fair to say. And there are discussions today. In fact, I'm meeting audit at 2:30 today to further those discussions about what could be done about how that might be handled.
Dawn, you've got some additional comment on this?
Thank you, Chair. In those discussions, I'm expecting Peter to be really clear with Audit New Zealand. We are hitting our timescales and we need them to do the same. And so I appreciate that they had to get all of the annual reports done across the local government landscape. However, I'm looking for them to be innovative in terms of the approach they can take in this period to parallel run the work to get it done.
Thank you. Sarah?
As a follow-up to that, while we had specific legislation for our annual plan with timeframes and things, do you think that this might lead to something similar, given that the problem doesn't lie at our end, and that it's likely to be impacting councils across the country with that additional delay?
There's no indication of a legislative change like there was for COVID.
Is that something we could maybe mention to the correct, MP, Minister?
It could be
Potentially, yes.
Yeah, certainly if this is a problem been faced by a number of councils or all councils, depending on the impact and depending on the conversations we're going to have with Audit NZ, that may be an approach that could be seen as necessary. But
from a selfish point of view, we do spend a lot of money with Audit New Zealand, so we should be seen as a priority. So I just wonder if we can add in a resolution.
Okay, so Sam, what were you proposing to add?
I flicked it through to Samantha. It's just that so request the Chief Executive meet with the appointed auditor. So urgently to request that Audit New Zealand identify an alternative approach to the delay of the audit. So I mean, it's good you guys are already chatting, but I think there probably needs to be a signal from us that it's not really good enough, and we're spending well over a couple $100,000 with them.
That
So.
would be very helpful.
All right, so Dawn, you're in agreement with this, Eddie?
I am absolutely in agreement,
It gives
yes.
you what you need to do the work. That's great. All right, so Sam, we'll note then that you'll move this with that addition. Cool, that's fine. And Tim, you're happy to second? Yep, great. All right, so are there any further questions? All right, so this has been moved by Sam, seconded by Tim. Is there any debate? All right, so Peter, thanks very much indeed for the update. And I think, you know, your opening remarks show that this continues to be a piece of work. The development of the LTP is a piece of work that continues to move at pace and is quite dynamic. The co-production approach certainly seems to have worked very, very well. We've done a lot of work in the time since the report was put together. We've obviously still got quite a bit of work ahead of us between now and the end of this calendar year. I certainly agree with the concerns that have been raised around the potential delays due to Audit New Zealand and their capacity, and certainly welcome this additional resolution being added so that we can deal with that as best we're able to, realising that we have expectations, but some of those matters obviously are out of our hands. But yeah, there's a risk there that we need to take steps to remove or mitigate as best we possibly can, and certainly the Chief Executive and staff meeting with Audit New Zealand directly will be the best way to do that. So we look forward to hearing the results of that engagement. Tim.
Just a quick thank you to Sam for bringing that up. I think we do need to show strong support for our CE and a flavour from the councillors. So thanks.
So I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye.